All right, people, welcome back to Ball Talk. We're up on episode 6 right now. Obviously, no games last week. Rest in peace to the Queen. Obviously, that's a huge topic of conversation right now, especially being somebody from Commonwealth country like Jamaica. Obviously, we know what kind of influence the Queen have, right? When we look on it in a context, we have the panel where I kind of look at everything as is. So, usual guest KJ there, big up, Stewie there, and Dan here. Welcome back, right? When we look on it in the context of the Queen, we're all Jamaicans here on the panel. So we kind of understand growing up what the monarchy mean, right, to our country. We're not getting into the history and all that thing, but we see where the game we watch on a weekly basis, that type of comment pan got cancelled over the weekend because of the death of the crown. Do you guys think it was the right decision by the FA to make that to kind of make that call?
Well, more I know one thing, What do your credit say? If the Queen was a king, should have a dick. Then the Queen just dead. I would credit didn't know. Me want to know, All of a sudden, no.
Yeah, funny. That was something himself really is.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah, funny.
know.
Funny. Met that reference there, and then it just come to pass. She passed away. But I mean, we don't know that part related to it or not. But that.
I mean, it don't make no sense. No sense. I more understand this upcoming weekend, but before last weekend, don't make no sense because at the end of the day, it's not like the people them where they go watch a game, I go there home and mourn and I cry. Them I go watch Netflix and then I go play FIFA. So was it really worth just canceling a weekend worth a game when the season so congested already with World Cup? Really don't make no sense.
Still waiting.
I want Queen me no, lady, sir.
Okay.
No. Well, we can obviously see it was the Premier League. They jumped the gun, and I think we saw that right after when the rugby league and cricket they announced that they were keeping their games going because they knew the funeral was coming up, and during the funeral there's no games that can be held because of the demand for security forces in England. Nobody could. So to me that looked like the Premier League just made a rush decision. They probably were trying to look good on the face of everything, the optics and everything, and they made there's a poor decision. And I know when them start see rugby and cricket say, yeah, well, games still are going, I know them look stupid. I know them regret the decision. But I saw it go. Now this weekend everything close off. Was it 3 games, right? The big game them? Liverpool, Man U, Chelsea, Liverpool. Man U, Leeds, Liverpool, Chelsea. What's the next game, KJ? That time earlier.
The Brighton game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been the Monday game, right? Yeah.
And the next thing too, like they said, historically the Queen loved sports and she loved to celebrate. They said she lived through every World Cup. She's been to every single World Cup. That's crazy.
What?
Yeah. Them said she lived through every World Cup, KJ. Every World Cup. And she's been to every World Cup.
I say.
And so, them said she was a big fan of sports. So my thing is, if you want to celebrate her, that would be the perfect opportunity to celebrate her. Like right before the game, 10-15 minutes before the game, you celebrate her. Black armband, moment of silence, and put up on the big screen, some memories of her at games or something like that. So again, I just think it was a rushed, poor decision by the Premier League's leadership, in my opinion.
I mean, we end up that kid that talked the other day and say one of the prince them up on the board for FA. So maybe
by virtue of, and this is some of my research like prior episode. I try to be like, to see like what reasoning behind it. So actually the Prince of Wales, which is our grandson, which I'm gonna be after I'm father, the next in line for the throne, is the president of the FA. So Prince William is the president of the FA. So pretty much the crown. I mean, it's not really a figurehead. They're not obviously involved in the day-to-day operations.
But isn't the FA separate from the Premier League?
The Premier League governing body.
Yeah, the FA govern the Premier League.
Yeah.
So I
The
thought
Premier League
like
and the English football team.
I thought the Premier League had their kind of own governance. I thought it was governed by the actual leaderships of the team.
I
So I
mean,
think
they
No.
did say them give each team
a vote
the option for do what they want to, and everybody did
come to a
choose.
unanimous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually English British tradition for someone in the monarchy head that department. It's like just like a head of state. So if you notice,
Gotcha.
which we never realize every time any FA Cup, any of them like big match, the prince always there. So
Oh,
because
okay.
he is the head of the FA. So I think that maybe out of respect for the tradition and the crown, then probably make a decision there. But go on the road again here.
It
So
was early. Too
it's
early as
early,
they
yeah,
say, isn't it?
exactly.
Kind of like say, oh, the funeral at the same weekend.
I
Because
mean,
they're
I
saying
could have more understand if it wasn't a World Cup year, but the fact that the schedule don't pack.
yeah,
Like I don't think they cause injury upon players because
exactly.
like, them are gonna play. Oh, which part them are fit in them 2 week a game?
Them said not till January or January. And it's like, yo, the Premier League did not learn. Like Premier League out of all the top 5 leagues, Premier League got the most bashing during the pandemic because they were cramming games, players are getting injured. Remember, the Premier League did not want to stick with the five substitute rule. Every other league in Europe continue with 5 substitutes, but Premier League decided 3 because they want to protect the small teams who don't have the same quality of players on the bench, which is to me it's ridiculous. So it's again, it's another point. Another thing too is like culturally, like we all know, football is like a religion in England. Literally, football is like a religion. So when you stifle youth them and tell the youth them say, yo, no football for 2-3 weeks, it's a big deal culturally. Like that affect the youth them. Like if you go on any social media platform right now, you hear the man in my bar, like no football, nothing for do. You know what I mean? So as we know, as adolescents, as youths, if you get youths spare time, they're gonna waste them time and yeah, I mean, think they can cause issues, dog. Like to me, it wasn't thought out. And I think if you look at like to your point, Nikhil, about like respect to the monarch and blah blah blah. Are we saying that the rugby league does disrespectful to the monarch or cricket was disrespectful to the monarch? No, they sat and they looked at the timeline and made a educated decision,
Yeah.
thought out decision.
Mhm.
Like if we put off this weekend, which is last weekend gone. Well, the funeral is not going to be until the following weekend or 2 weekends. And what are we going to do? We're going to go almost a month without any games. No, make the game then play.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, me look at it in a two angle. I mean, I don't want my conversation be contradictory to the other, but more kind of show two sides because they're gonna be, me anticipate that people are gonna watch this, right? And people are gonna want to like kind of see both the arguments for and against, right? Because while we might not see the significance of it, right? When we grew up under British colonial rule to some extent, we're not actually living in Britain, right? So there is cultural significance to the Queen. I mean, she had the longest reigning monarch, right? In the crown history, right? So that's something to say. She is a global icon. We all know she loves sports. If we kind of take back a step and look at it, right? Them actually use sports. We're talking about the monarchy themselves for spread. I mean, feel like we're talking about the positive things, right? I would say recently we are Raheem Sterling got Jamaica with the Prince. That was like what in a couple months ago in July thereabout.
yeah.
With Leon Bailey, right? So them use that as like a conduit to kind of spread positivity and kind of extend would I say favor to other nations and stuff like that, right? Just to bring people together in its totality. So the fact, and when we look at it, is the fact that she's such an iconic figure in the UK, right? In general, I mean, think about it that way. Even when they would have the Olympics, remember the Olympics that there's like 3 people, right? That them bring out. Them bring David Beckham as a part of the opening ceremony. When you think about England, you think about David Beckham, James Bond, right? I remember the Queen agreed for be a part of the opening ceremony there when they make it look like she jumped out of the helicopter for start the Olympic Games, but obviously she never really do that. But that's how much intertwined she is with sports.
Yeah, so the
So I
Queen
think
can't come.
Well, I mean, the things like that you just can't jump out on a helicopter, but you know, who knows? But we say that for say she's so intertwined, she's such an icon globally, right? None of us know anybody else when it comes on to monarchy more than we know the Queen, right?
Me know
So
L.A.
I think,
Lewis.
yeah, and our nephew, is it nephew? Our granduncle.
Yeah, our nephew. Yeah. Nephew.
Hey, condolences go to the Royal family, L.A. Lewis included as well.
Seven,
You
Yeah.
know,
seven.
seven, right? Besides that, she have her place, right? And she have her significance. And even at the game itself, I'm kind of again do the research to kind of look into it. So even a team like Arsenal, right? Arsenal, the club, founded after the Royal Army, right?
Yeah,
And
every week the
players
man
them.
connect something to Arsenal, you know.
No,
Yo.
I'm just saying, you see me? So
Man connect something to
let's
Arsenal.
show you say
Yeah.
so the team
Us-
formed after the Royal Armory. So based on that, teams like these are deeply rooted into the monarchy.
Maybe that
Right.
you play Chris.
Uh,
That you play Chris have nothing to do with the monarchy, you know. It kind
The
of
Royal Armory. That's
okay.
why Arsenal the name come about it.
and
Anyways,
Arsenal are the only team to visit the Queen after winning the Premier League,
facts,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Fun fact. Yep, she did say Arsenal are her favorite team per Cesc Fabregas. I know Cesc
Yeah,
Fabregas
this
to be
see
a
them though.
liar.
But yeah.
I don't see him as a liar, so he must know better than we know, right? But as I said, so and we have to put the fact again, say the British tradition is that someone who is either the house or Prince of Wales or whoever the monarch is at that time rules or they're on top of the FA board. And I think it's also a political decision in the sense of the reason why the cricket, right, and rugby never postponed the games is because the FA used to be a governing body for cricket and rugby, but they're no longer. So them really only govern football now. So I think them have the same political connection, right? Or I guess you have a sense of duty to the royal family where the FA would, right? So yeah, maybe it's a bit political. So that I guess is mostly my arguments for. My arguments against it now is like if you cancel football out of respect, then everything else probably should have been cancelled, right? People should have probably have to stay home for the weekend, period of
Yeah.
morning, right? People still have to go to work,
Yep.
right? And then cancel football not only at the Premier League level, even at the youth level as
Yes,
well,
and grassroots.
right? So even the grassroots football get cancelled. But then when I talk about just the people we watching football on the weekend, there's people who probably this is their first time ever in England. I go watch a Manchester United game. I go watch an Arsenal game, right? The Premier League, and I think them even understand this. It's not just England anymore. It's a global brand. This is a brand where them build themselves, right? You canceling the games is also affect fans across the globe, right?
But
Mhm.
I don't
I see team like
them of flying.
I see team like I see other teams. I think I see Man U, I think Arsenal too. Tell people for come back to them website. Maybe they might give them a refund or try to work out something with them for the tickets. But we are talking about hotels. We're talking about flights,
Yeah, you
right?
can. Yeah.
We're talking about stuff like that. So you created this global brand, and you have a duty and a responsibility to your fan base,
Oh.
right?
That
Just the same. So
this would never happen in La Liga with Real Madrid and Barcelona, those juggernauts of a global entity. Yeah, especially Madrid's president, what name Perez, Florentino Perez. He ain't gonna make that. You're mad. He's not gonna make that, brother, because he understands the magnitude of the club and
No,
understands that the club bigger than just La Liga. Just an example.
but I love to see the viewership ratings over the weekend for La Liga and Serie A, and I know it go up. Because I
course.
find
yeah,
myself watch
I mean,
Bundesliga. Like, like when I watch a Bundesliga game,
Yeah.
like
yeah,
sit down
I
and
see
watch
a
the
funny thing
Bundesliga
on
game.
the tropics. I think share it. Let me see everybody right now I learn Spanish. Watching La
Yeah.
Liga game over the weekend. I mean, and this kind of show you to still like the Premier League, barring none, is probably the biggest league. I mean, arguably,
Oh yeah.
or probably
Yeah.
without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest league. We see the impact where it cause. Like over the weekend, literally, I know what to do with myself. I used to a routine, wake up in the morning and watch a game, them Sunday, I know a game time again.
Yeah.
And without that, it's almost like something missing. But I
Yeah.
mean, we'll say both sides, right? But I think for the majority of people agree, say, it probably was a rash decision. I mean, everything these days are the optics, right? Everybody
course.
want when the moment strike, everybody want to be on the right side of history. I think them actually end up, not on the favorable side. But you know what? The games are going to do there. We'll move on just to see them. But we kind of bring up some good points. Whereas other leagues, like when they have a Christmas break, stuff like that, the English league don't really accommodate stuff like that, right? And me was always a big proponent of the fact that when people used to say, "Oh, you see them Spain team are better than English team," because when it come out to Champions League time, I mean, not in a recent times because English teams kind of dominate now. But you remember back then when Barcelona and those teams were dominating, or Spanish teams were dominating. I feel like a big part of it is the fact that the schedule is so congested. By the time the English team them reach round to Champions League final and the groups and the final stages, the team pretty much fall apart already.
Yeah,
Whereas
I mean, yeah,
that side, like Bayern Munich and Barcelona, is like they're in a training every week.
yeah.
Them
Remember when
Klopp ready to go.
When Klopp just come to the league and him realized the schedule, and after the first season, that guy was in shock. He must say, "Yo, how you guys? That's damn near brutality to put the players through that season after season after season." By the time you reach, go on.
The Premier League too, like them. I don't think them pre the other schedule because sometimes you must see the English team all have a semi-final the Tuesday, and then the match all Sunday. Like, and the coach might beg you can't reschedule. And like, man, say,
nah.
Reschedule. Reschedule the game.
Exactly, because them understand that having their team in a Champions League final is gonna be good for the league, and that's why. I know I kind of talked about it recently in the group chat, but I kind of feel like the Premier League, the people, the key holders for the Premier League, they're kind of taking their status for granted, right? Just because we're on top. From we watch football, about 3 league probably dominate the circuit since we watch football, right? In the early 90s to early 2000, not early 90s to the early 2000 was Italian Serie A.
Italian league, yeah.
The Italian league, that was dominating everything, and then them gonna mess up with the whole heap of scamming, match fixing, right? And then La Liga start dominate. Right now it's Premier League. This is not forever. So like to me, them have to understand that this is a great time to really continue the momentum because of viewership and just the digital world where we live in now. But you cannot take it for granted. You have to make some sacrifices, and I think they're very, very old school in some of the decisions they make, and they don't as to what era I said a while ago, them not accommodate them team, right? It's not a big deal for them seeing a Man U, a Liverpool, or a Chelsea in the semi-final. It's like, oh, okay, we're La Liga.
It's the norm for them.
We're La Liga. If a Madrid or a Sevilla or Barcelona make it semi-finals, yo, you can have 2 weeks off. We reschedule it. 2 weeks off. Take care of the league, you know what I mean? But I don't know, Premier League, the need for careful with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm still a try, and I hope this be an eye opener, for the people that where will govern this and realize what the fallout look like. I mean, again, and I think you mentioned it earlier, Story, football entrenched in a English culture, likewise the Queens. So when them clash together, you'll have all outs like these. I mean, one of the things I'm thinking about in that scenario is the same thing like going to Qatar for go play the World Cup now, right? At that point, even though it's a global game, it's going to be hosted in Qatar. So whatever for them religious, social norms be, right? Whatever them cultural norms be, we're gonna have to work with it. So as global fans ourselves, the league cancel the Queen, and we are saying, oh, January we could have probably, the game could have still gone. At the end of the day, that's for them cultural norm, that's for them icon. So just like when the World Cup reach over Qatar, there's certain things when I need to name them that the Qatar people them now have. You can't out there drink on the road and things like that, right? So we have the English fan them. We go over there, we're very rowdy, right? We're gonna start war everywhere them go. Them gonna get locked up.
I mean, them now they were there long still the group stage and them got home.
Yeah, group stage. Yeah, we just real quick, but that's another topic for different day.
Brother, he says, win this World Cup.
Southgate is your coach. Southgate's bringing you right back home.
Southgate's good. So I mean, so ultimately, we kind of have to just take it as it come. I mean, the game them free up now. We obviously I get more reports that some game are gonna start play the Europa game them are coming where everybody wants to, right? Champions League kind of dip on the back end right now. Them
Thursday night's hot.
Thursday night people must say right now. Champions League played out now, bro. That shit's like
Wednesday.
Like the normal right now. You see? So, but we'll move on. the next big topic, right? I'm think so the death of the Queen kind of overshadow this, a little bit. But the big topic everybody had talked about before the passing of the Queen was the Thomas the Tank, Thomas the Train, however you want to call him, the sacking,
greatest.
right?
Oh, TT.
The TT sacking, right? I'm actually glad to have down here on the panel as a Chelsea fan. More hear from you first. Why your thoughts, insights, your pain points? We want to know why your take on the Thomas sacking.
I can't take on the through the day. I'll be honest, like oversleep.
Give me a day in the life of a Chelsea fan.
I wake up in the morning and I say my phone, I say a bag of message, but I know you normally wake up and say a prayer. I'm check my social media, check Twitter, I'm see Thomas Tuchel fired. I say, I joke this must a dream. Cause I see how I see this sacking from nowhere. I'm going to the group chat. I see 100 messages. I say, oh yeah, this is real.
You know the dogs are hot here, you know.
Yeah, when I say KJ, I'm on Twitter. I say, no man, this curious. I'm not even answering about. I say, read up. I say, them really fine. I say, how? From what ground? Like to me, I understand. Say, the type of coach is him very honest. You see me? Most people don't like saying call out players or him don't directly call the name of the players, but he will say, the player them perform. I feel like as a man, like in a working world, if you do something wrong, you need someone to come to you and check you and say, you did something wrong. Like you're not a baby. So I feel like him a talk out and be honest. I guess the players them over the years, I notice the player them come together and overthrow the coach them. I'm gonna like that in my culture as Chelsea, you see me?
So you think that was a thing, like the players come together against the coach?
Because I'm telling you,
Chelsea fan like, at the end of life, make him.
Yeah, the captain and go dinner with the owner of them couple days before games and them thing there. Like, and you know what, him hardly get game. Him hardly start as the quitter, right? Then you hear say the more Pulisic fair start day in day out. Pulisic not really pulling me.
That whole American thing.
Yeah, and him's an American pride and joy. You see me? And he's an American owner. So you know the man want them star play out there. You see me?
American keeper.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You see me? Them Captain America. So to me, I'm shocked at the sacking. Like up to that whole day, my outer thing. Like I said, this came in a sense like give the man time. The transfer market just closed. You get in the player them, give the man time. But I hear like a rough link say a long time they want to get rid of him. So things was in the making from
and thing. I guess your coach your owner never happy, so him never sign Ronaldo.
I guess. And they want him to be more invested in the transfer market, but at the end of the day, the man's a coach. Like, man, give the list. You're my boss, give the list of players more. You got to deal with it. The man.
You don't find that contradicting though, because I think you have other coaches like the top 6 who would want to be as involved as they wanted TT.
Oh, long time TT. That's why he left PSG. Him and PSG couldn't agree over that because he just wanted to be a coach. He never liked the politics.
Yeah, man, I tell you the players I want. You get me the players I want and focus on coaching. Like me and if in there deal and negotiate. Like no.
So let me get to understand this real quick. Something I try to understand this from a perspective of being a manager myself, right? In our job, right? At the end of the day, yes, you have a roster, right? Let's say you get a list of people who you want. You have certain criteria who you want. Wouldn't you have a priority though? Like for say, all right, you know what? I like KJ and Stewie as a baller. I like both of them on my team, but we can only pick one. Right? As the coach, don't you get involved in that sense and say, if I have to pick one, KJ may I work with, or Stewie may I work with, I prefer film attributes. Is it that him just send out the list and say, anyone them in the matter? Because that for me as an owner would a kind of
no, I'm feeling send out him list priority. Like him send out him list and give them list of who the players he want in priority. Like this more priority as them player. Him say Raheem Sterling was on top of the list. Him really wanted Raheem Sterling. Me say him don't want the list, but he never got through. Cristiano, them just don't think with a mesh with the team, and that was just film thing. But them coach, them want jersey sale. Them think about the money side. They never get Cristiano the jersey sale.
Especially the American owners.
Yeah, stadium pack. Revenues, you see me? They might think about that, but the man is a football-minded player, you see me? The man just want to focus on the team and play some football. The transfer market just closed. The man have him team I mean, yeah, we shouldn't lose to that team because we not even know that team. We can't even remember them name. Yeah, I saw it go football Champions League. But and I like say then in the group stages we are lose by 1 point. The next team them draw.
It was good for banter, but it wasn't that detrimental. It was good
to
see somebody, though.
And didn't you
guys
crazy.
You guys dominate the game, right?
Yeah. Man,
yes,
I mean, they score a good goal, yes, but we dominate the game. And I like the European Premier League, and I like so with the 11th and the leader, they lead by double digits.
Yeah.
Like, I just not understand. So, based on me here, it's a long time coming. I understand that part. Me take that part. They've done that. Me say them talk to Potter for a long while, and him sanction some of the signings and them good things. So, me take that excuse. But don't tell me say because I'm results, two-shot results, and how him perform for the season. Don't tell me that.
And them said something about like first 100 days of the new ownership. That was a big thing to do with it. They wanted to review everything. That's why them take them time, and the decision was made like a week before.
These owners wasn't there with the sanction. Tuchel wrote in the sanction. Man, I say, yo, me pay bus fare for the man them go match. The man did it.
He must face the media. He must face the media.
Yeah, the man face the media. The man didn't through the mud like.
Yeah.
Them coaches, them
manager.
Them said the man did hurt for real. The man
hurt.
Yeah. Them saying back for your next chance during the call.
The man up on the call and say, give me some more time. The man, 10 minutes
give me
call.
one.
If I am 10 minutes, yo, no.
Yeah, the man say, yo, give me one more match. I beg you, one more match. And the man said, no, you're gone.
So them don't have
as the neutrals. What the neutrals them think?
I read a lot about it, like from like the Athletic, and then David Arnstein and them Monday. You know, the Monday have close ties in London. And the big thing came down to the ownership, typical egomaniac American ownerships come in, and they wanted him to have a bigger role in the meantime between them finding a football director and obviously the transfer window. And at first they said he was okay with that, right? Every manager you tell him say, yo, you have more ownership in the transfers and blah, blah. He was okay with that, and then me saying never like it because he literally didn't have no time on the coaching on the training pitch, and then man is a coach. And he didn't like that. And the ownership didn't like that fact that he was pulling back. And they must say one big thing that stood out to them was the transfer of Rafinha. Rafinha, yeah, we went to Barcelona. And they must say, Xavi was so invested in the transfer of Rafinha, whereas Tuchel was way more hands-off. And they must say that the owner never liked that. Like, I guess comparing, a next coach in a big team to you and this coach.
So blame him for say that make them lose Rafinha, maybe.
Yeah, they must say like, I mean, I can see that side too. As an American, they have no ties in Europe, they have no connections. Remember, see this man Bowley in that. The man I go on plane and I got Barcelona them place. The man have no football knowledge, and him affair didn't know go. So he was expecting more help from.
That's why football
but they didn't have the time. So may I give you this perspective, right? Because
them still fight the Glade over that before, like give her one chance to mark.
No, she from what I heard, she never want to be a part of it. Remember, she's loyal to Abramovich,
Yeah.
The whole of them, she and the next guy named Bruce, or whatever they name, loyal and Petacek and them people. Look on it from this side, right? You're a manager, and you come in, you take over a new business or a business owner, and you have people that work directly for you, right? And you come in with the best intentions, and these people just don't want to work with you. You got to look at it from that point of view now. And that's what the Athletic show both sides say. TT looked like he was a hard person to work with. Especially, you got to remember, again, I'm going to bring this up. These American owners don't know nothing about football. So
TT has franchise where you trade player and
not even a trade thing, brother. But then remember say just football and European football, but it's all about connections and it's all about networking. Who know who? And for no say you have a coach, he's a well-established European coach with ties who knows how to talk the talk, knows how to talk to players and these things. And the man Nagy and Noliko. You know what I mean? He's just being a rough employee. You know them thing that you have a rough employee who just again the hard side or not really bend. You know what I mean? From that's how the story made it seem. We don't know what really happened. But that's from that. I mean, I see both sides.
Enough player join clubs just because of the coach.
Exactly.
Arsenal is famous for that. Fergie is famous for that.
Fergie, yep, exactly.
Fergie pick up the phone and call you. Mourinho pick up the phone and call you. You know why you're nothing else.
Yeah, no, imagine that. No, as you as American owner, you call people, brother. Nobody not listen to you. You don't know nothing about football. So what kind of your voice and your opinion are you? Whereas now, a Champions League winning coach who coached Neymar, who coached Mbappe, calling and say, yo, this is the position I want you to play. This is the status you're gonna have in the team. It's gonna be a bigger deal than versus Todd Bowley.
But can he compete against Barca though? Can Tuchel really convince a baller not to go to Barca?
Yeah, because Rafinha did like 90% at Chelsea pretty much, and then.
But did they always hear me say Barca?
Per reports.
Yeah, per the reports. Him did the Chelsea, and then we just wake up and hear say him gonna I think that.
But they always say Barca him dream. So I mean, look on
but Barca that drag them foot. Dream. Remember, say Barca that drag them foot in. If TT did really step on it and say, call the man every day and say, yo, bad dog, forward. You know what I mean? But if he's not being persistent with it, again, we don't know.
When Molly call him or Bowley or him on him, man, I say, who's this?
Who this? Yeah. And Bowley tell him, I want you to come play in my 4-4-3. What is? Who is?
Come play soccer.
Come play soccer.
I want to come play soccer.
Yeah. So I mean, so I actually put this. Let me see. So we're looking like, because ultimately him get sucked, right? So it not really changed, whatever the reason is. Obviously, much things that will come out after the fact. What me read is them have after that game the dressing room bust up. I don't know what that means, but that a per Fabrizio. I mean, known to be a reputable source for the most part. So I mean, I understand what kind of training room or what kind of locker room bust up for going between him and the owner. Maybe it was a different opinion and it just erupt right then and there.
I'm honest, I'm probably telling me mine on the owner, owner them American and ego.
Yeah, so but I mean ultimately if we let's look on the man himself, right? If we look on Tuchel in the Marine in a Chelsea, right? Him lead the team or the franchise, whatever you want to call it, in American terms, to the most domestic and European finals in the club history, right? Him have 31 clean sheet in 50 games. They have the fourth highest win rate in the club history, at least in a modern time. So we are talking about fourth highest. We know fourth sound kind of far down, but we are talking about 61%.
That's Chelsea first Super Cup. Wow.
64%, right? Lead them first world championship.
And so wow.
Right? So when you think about it in a sense that you can make an argument that he's arguably the greatest coach in a Chelsea history.
No.
Arguably.
I'm not sure about the most domestic cups. I'm not sure about that.
Well, it's
a facts.
Led Chelsea to more domestic and European finals than any other.
Oh, finals, not cups. Finals.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Finals.
Oh, okay.
Damn, in 18 months. He did that in 18 months. That's crazy.
18 months.
That's a crazy
right?
Stats.
In play, him have 100 games exactly.
Yeah, I think you got to like 6
right?
finals or something like that. So, yeah.
Right. In that period of time there. Right? More say him and Frank Lampard pretty much more or less. I think Frank Lampard get a little bit more time than him by a month or so. Right? So the fact that Frank Lampard, they have more patience with Frank Lampard than an established coach, kind of crazy enough itself.
Well, two different set of ownership still, and you have to remember when Frank did a coach, Frank coach a whole season where them did get banned from the transfer market, so them really couldn't get rid of Frank even if they wanted to, because him could have done nothing. The man they tied. But the question on me have is, you think if I did Abramovich, you think he wanna get fired now here?
No, I think
not so soon.
Well, I mean, that's a good point for bringing up, because we are talking about Thomas Tuchel as a person, right? As a coach. We're not talking about the organization and the culture, right? Chelsea do have a culture of firing managers.
Well, I think that changes new ownership because they must have come with stability. So I say,
is this just the Chelsea way? I come back now because that time I see more fans not really in favor of it based on what me I hear and what me I read and just social media in general. Whereas if you think about who did that before him again? Conte? No, sorry. So before Conte sacking, the man win the league the year before.
The second season they were 10th.
But at the same thing, 10th and how far was the distance between the gap? right? This is just a Chelsea way, right? When it works,
what the Chelsea
everybody
way,
say,
this too early. This too early. 6 games in.
Yeah, 6 game kind of extreme still.
6 games in. And
that's the quickest.
We not lose by double digits,
That's the quickest manager got sacked by Chelsea, right? I think it beat Jose. Jose was like 30 odd days in. I think this one was like 4 days less or something like that.
Like 6 days, six games in there.
Me actually more surprised now, say, with the sacking, right? Again, this is a Chelsea way. Me feel like, say, especially when we as Arsenal fans have got through whole Wenger out period and whatever, and manager change and all them things there. People that look on the Chelsea model as the model because people say, see, Chelsea not one up on the manager. You see, as soon as a man not perform, or if he win the league last year, him not play that area, get rid of him. See there, he make them win Champions League. So much time them win the league in the past 10 years. Right? That was the Chelsea way. And fans from other clubs.
Not so soon. Like,
well, I mean, it hasn't proven to be wrong so far.
I mean,
right?
I don't think they're very quick to fire this manager because quote unquote a theme boy. So I think them now quick to fire because they'll look away, they'll let them clearly know what they might do. So you have a room for the madness. Just Lampard, I'm telling you why I think they will fire Lampard because Lampard keep coming into the interviews and saying the team is not ready. The man them spend how much millions, get Havertz, get this up player, get Werner, and keep telling they're young. They're not ready. Like, the man don't want to hear that. As I said, money side of it, the man is spending money. Don't tell us that these players not ready. So, for Tuchel come in and use them same player that win Champions League, I say, all right, we'll find our manager. But, as I say, the player power, we always see that Chelsea. Once the man, a group of them come together and say, yo, when I like that coach, I will get him out this year, everybody start.
I mean, I think that modern football is, I know, saying easier to fire a coach than fire $100 million.
Yeah.
Players fire the coach nowadays, man.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But I mean, we definitely feel like, I mean, you guys kind of touched on it earlier, is it? I'm kind of.
But me have something to say about that, though. Like, I hear
on.
that point. But if you look at the most successful teams over the last decade, it's been clubs that are in control and they don't allow the players to be in control. Man City, Liverpool, Madrid. You get me? I said them 3 clubs there, that's probably the strongest club them over the last
10, 15 years.
Yeah, and those clubs, they
Bayern too.
Bayern, they don't allow the players. They don't allow the players to come in and play power. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know watch Pep Guardiola with Rio Ferdinand. It was our interview last year.
What the interview about?
It's good. And Ferdinand asked him one question, it's like, yo, how you stay on top? And he must say, yo, he must say simple, like in your time, what's Fergie doing? He said, what? He must say, yo, I turn over players. I change players constantly. And he said there's a reason, because it start to get stale and then players start to feel themselves and just chop. New set of players, you know what I mean? And that's how I me feel like I saw club for run.
Yeah, I mean that's there's a lot of likeliness between Fergie and Pep in my eyes, you know. Because you're right, the two of them turnover players a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder like why the hell him do that, but him end up whoever I'm bringing it perfectly fit the role of the player where I leave.
I mean, think about when Yaya tore his bench.
Fergie get rid of Van Nistelrooy, Fergie get rid of Beckham,
anything.
Get rid of Roy Keane.
He was about to get rid of Rooney if he never retire.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, because the whole thing when them say Rooney say him want to leave, and if Rooney come out and say, yo, me never tell him that. Tell him, if they not go play me, it not make sense to play.
But you know,
come out public and say Rooney say him want a transfer request.
Yeah, so you know Fergie style.
But it did that work for him, and it work for Pep right now. I mean, I think all I was still a kind of ponder how Raheem Sterling barely getting a game last season, and how Raheem Sterling just gone this summer. But
I mean, when you talk about Raheem Sterling, we talk about Yaya Toure.
No, if you want to talk about
we talk about Joa.
If you want to talk about Pep, if you can go back at Barcelona days when the man come in, and this was him coming in as a young coach straight from Barcelona Youth Academy. Ronaldinho, Zlatan, Yaya Toure at the time. He got rid of Yaya Toure at the time. Deco, the whole of them must say, you don't want to run, get out.
Zlatan like a bone in a Pep twist.
Pep the first coach humbling.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and then time they talk about peak Zlatan. But yeah, we kind of want just kind of touch on it like look a bit, but we kind of want like just segue in that topic yeah, about the American ownership. I know we talk about it. I feel like going back to the whole Chelsea situation with a new owner coming in, trying to stamp them authority. I feel like personally that's just kind of the move, right? What am I trying to do in that sense there? But we have kind of started look on American ownership as a total in the league, right? And how it kind of work out or how is it working out for the football in England in general. You see me? I mean, I'm gonna share that kind of slide here so everybody can kind of see what we are looking on. I mean, these are some of the top team them. You know, Glazers out. We all know the money from them bar for that every day. Cranky out. I mean, we are winning some games now. Club looks stable, but there's still a majority, not a majority, a strong percentage of the Arsenal fan them must still say cranky out.
I believe that. May I say some things from last week when I say since what the son? Joe Glazer the son? When I said since the father get Joe the team basically for run and Joe a bit more hands on and I see him very content and happy with that.
Who you talking about? Crankies or Glazers? You said Joe or Glazer?
Joe. Oh, Josh Cranky?
Yeah, Josh Cranky, yeah. When I see him very happy.
No, I mean, listen, it's a happy time right now at the club, right? In terms of the winning, but just wait, right? Make couple lose, go back to back, and then we'll start the same thing again. Right? It's just really papering over the cracks right now.
So is it true that
Amazon document?
I'm gonna ask if is it true that the reason why they weren't investing for years is because they didn't own the majority of the club and know that them finally own the majority. That's why they're able to invest more.
I don't believe so. Right? Because at the end of the day, I feel like it's public pressure cause it to be the way it is at this point. I mean, I'm feeling like at the same with all the club them, right? Because it's a similar funny. This Liverpool, remember, I think people don't remember this. Remember, as much as Liverpool have them success now, remember there was a time where when Liverpool fans did walk out of the match, I think it was like 75 minutes.
Yeah.
And the wall was there because they were going to raise the ticket price them. People don't remember that now, but them were the first one that were coupled with like a serious type of protest where the whole stadium be just walk out, right? And them said that football is nothing without fans. And then Chelsea, before obviously American took over now, but another American did that try bid for Chelsea, right? So obviously there's a crazy interest from American owners to get into English football.
Yeah,
right?
Them as a cash cow.
So and funny fact, 8 or 9 Premier League teams, right? How much league in the team? Like 20? Almost half of the team then owned by American owners, right?
Yeah.
Which is a crazy stat when you think about it.
American
owners. Either them are majority shareholder or super minority shareholders, right? So what do you think about American ownership, in a football, especially for the respective clubs? We all have at this point, everybody put up on an American owner.
So I feel like I have strong feelings about this. I feel like if there's no regulation, which Gary Neville has been crying about this for a while, independent regulation on it, they will destroy football in not only England but Europe. They're gonna break football because they want to be trailblazers. They want to bring the franchise model to European football, which I think is gonna happen because you don't see smoke without fire, and the fact there is more and more Americans coming in, right? We see AC Milan getting a big funding investment from Americans. That's to me, that's more smoke. I think if there's no regulation, they will destroy it. Because to your point, football is nothing without fans, and their model is always about growth, right? There's gonna be a point when there's no more growth. You get what I say? It's like instead of just look for stability, I understand commercial aspect of the game, right? I understand all of that. Like it's a business. And the backbone of it is a business. And only for people like Manchester United has like over 1,000 employees or something like that. So obviously it feeds people, but you cannot lead a football club with profit as the main goal. Because it's a football club, it's not a business first. It's a football club first and not a business first. And again, there needs to be heavy regulations that come in. Yeah, that's my views on it. The Glazers are probably the worst out of the bunch. It's probably very redundant, like the things that they've done. They literally them how they bought the club is practically illegal now. That should just tell you everything. How they bought Manchester United.
I mean, all them bought the club was them borrow how much like
They took
500 billion or whatever them
took
them
the
borrow,
loan, and then when they
and
bought
then
the
still
club,
owe the same loan till this day.
they don't owe the loan. Manchester United owes the loan.
Yeah, well, yeah, technically, yeah, but
Yeah,
just I said,
yeah, but that's
pay back to this day.
That's crazy. How are you allowed to do that? Like, how can you buy something? Like in the American system, right? You take out something on your credit.
That's literally what them do.
Yeah, literally. But then when you get it in your possession, you put that loan onto them. Like I don't. Is that even legal here? I don't even know.
It's like it's like them get a loan, right?
Right off them company.
Yeah, them basically use them company for sign a third party, and then them get it out. Them take them for them name off of the loan.
Most people that here in the US, like if you have a business and you get a loan, you write off the business. Right.
Yeah, but I don't think you can.
Rich people know rich people tactics.
Yeah. That's why
they're rich.
The bankers have them. But basically, here it's like it's not what you're thinking. They bought the club on a loan. So what you're saying is like if you have a business and you take out a loan in the business name, that's not what they did. They took a loan, bought Manchester United. So the loan is 500. I think it was like 700 million or something like that.
Yeah, something like billion.
No,
man, not 700
million. And then somehow, instead of it going on their credit, it went on Manchester United's credit. So that's before. I don't even. Just to show you, that's illegal now. You cannot buy a football club like that right now.
Well, them get with it.
Them get away with it, right? And they've been taking out dividend. They're the only football club in the league that takes out dividends.
Yeah.
Only football club in the league that takes out dividends. They haven't invested in the football club since they've taken the infrastructure of the stadium, I should say. Manchester United and Liverpool. I don't know if Liverpool. I know Manchester. It's Manchester United and Liverpool are just Manchester. It's the only league in the team to not have a screen in their stadium.
Yeah.
Just think about that. Manchester United is the only club in the league to not have a screen in their stadium. The club has
roof
leaks. Exactly.
I don't got national stadium.
Yeah, and then I see some video the other day. It's leaking inside the stadium too. It's like they're saying last year when Cristiano Ronaldo came, he was in shock on how terrible. He said the club nothing has been upgraded since he left.
Yeah.
And he must have begged them because Cristiano is a man that take him post recovery workout very serious or whatever. And I guess he went to the pool every time after training or something like that. And the tiles by the pool were chipped up, bro. And he must have ball and complain to them for fix it. Like, yo, how you guys have this? You know what I mean? I guess that's another reason why he was upset with the leadership, like the captain. Like, how no, I work in these conditions at one of the biggest club in the world. How no allow this? And me come in, I'm there for 6 months, and me get them for fix it. So that means just okay with the foolishness. You know what I mean? I'll be a yes man in the club.
I mean, what captain is a man who get relegated 4 or 5 times.
Four times.
Well, I mean, so all right. So let's not even if we're not talking about the financials, right? I'm gonna look on it from a devil's advocate perspective, right? A lot of people would say the biggest problem that, and I guess as an Arsenal fan, I try keep on the cap but take off the cap at the same time, where we always thought that American owners don't invest, and by invest meaning buy players, right? We've seen now where that, would you agree that that's been proven to be false? In the fact that the amount of money that has been spent on transfers.
Yeah, because it's not so what you're talking about, if we're talking specifically on Manchester United, that's the club's money.
What about Chelsea? Chelsea spend what, 240 something million?
Because they could not buy the club they could not buy the club without agreeing to that. Abramovich is not going to sell them the club. They had to agree to invest into the club. And as much as people want to bash Abramovich,
they agree for investing in the stadium to rebuild the stadium.
Yeah, so that's hence why the other owners that bid for it couldn't buy, because they were not agreeing to that, and they met them agree to that. Say, yo, because Chelsea was Abramovich's baby. Like the man that have a real
literally
passion
love
for
the club.
love the club. So he never want to sell it, but obviously politics make him sell it, and he wasn't gonna sell it to anyone. So they have to agree for the certain thing, right? And if we want to talk about investment in clubs, investment is what the Man City owners do. They come in and bought Manchester City, bro, and them invest in the whole city. Them invest in football grassroots from what like U5 all the way up in the city. They build, they develop up the city. That's investing in because we invest in a football club in Europe. You have to invest in the community, not just the club. It's not like here where I don't know, New York Giants, they just invest in the stadium and that's it. No, you have to invest in the club, the community and the culture. That's how serious.
That just in the football.
I mean, I don't know much about I don't know much about like in terms of, but as far as me can remember, or as far as me know, even American football, the city or the town or wherever, them right have a part in building the stadium, right? In terms of the finances. No, I'm talking about American football.
No, the stadium is usually built by the sponsors, bro. Like how you have American Airline Arena or something like that. American Airlines response, are them funded?
No, man. Well, I say as far as we can remember, right? Especially in a recent time, when the reason why the Raiders moved to Vegas is because Vegas.
Oh, you're talking about like tax
them
the best tax
offer them
cuts
the most in terms of for building
incentives.
the stadium and them things.
Yeah, the city.
And that's
tax
a big reason why, because it brings revenue to the city, right? Whereas the same in Europe, right? I mean, as obviously. As a Stan Kroenke owned a lot of teams, right? Probably one of the richest sports franchise owners, right? In the world. He won the Rams. Them just got a Super Bowl. Or win a Super Bowl, right? He won the Nuggets. Not a bad team. So I'm just name two of them just for kind of giving an idea. He won Arsenal, one of the top 10 biggest football franchises in the whole world, right? If we are put it in another perspective. So we know a big problem of ours was investment, right? Investment in buying players. We saw Arsenal over the years moving from Ivory to the Emirates, right? And then we'll go through a period where we'll sell all our top player then because we say we have a self-sustaining model, right? Where we have to take the money there and pay off these loans or own for the stadium and all that. And then after we go through that bad period there, we were going to start competing with the Bayern Munichs, word for word, quote for quote, of the world, right? But then we see we're a case where we were not signing anybody, right? We still have the top player. Then remember upon deadline day, probably one of the worst transfer season we ever see, where we only sign a goalkeeper. We never sign an outfield player. We have a time where we end up on sell. I think after we sell Van Persie, we end up on sign Arteta, Mertesacker. I think it was Andre Santos, probably the worst left back in the history, the worst Brazilian ever in our football history, right? In that sense,
Vandalo by worst Brazilian ever.
Yeah, I don't know, arguably, but no, we are still research. I mean, we can say no, at least in that sense. We can say
clever to that.
What else I say? We are about
I just talk big baller. Don't talk about a legend.
No, me talk about Santos. The man where Van Persie scored upon him, he might run on Van Persie for begging him jersey. After I'm come on the Emirates, come dump you up after I'm left. Big yes, man. But we get that team, right? But when I said that percent, we obviously say we have type of they must spend money now. Whether them are doing for show face or whatever. So is it that we also kind of have to watch for see where it develop into?
So but we have a question upon that. Is a Kroenke spending their money or the club's money? It's just like people don't know how to differentiate the difference.
The conversation is per reports that they're spending their money.
Okay.
Right? Them are bankrolling. So again, we'll see where I mean, I guess the question is, are we jumping the gun or do we have to wait to see? The signs I'm already did it. That's kind of more.
Me personally, I like this American ownership thing. Think me I got ever like it. Based on the history of things and with the whole Super League and I think
but things change, right? Football change. Football have to evolve, no?
Yeah, football have to evolve. That I mean, the sport have to evolve in a franchise type
yeah, so I'll say this is probably controversial. The Super League in idea is not a bad idea. It's who's putting it forward. That's what I don't like. I don't like the fact that it's the American ownerships that try to run it, right? The Super League in idea, right? A league format of the Champions League, basically. 20 teams. I don't agree with the founding members always saying. I feel like it should be a league.
That part.
Yeah, people get relegated, but whatever. I think
got Champions League in about 10 years. Why them get a spot?
But KJ, if them start the league like that with just a bunch of traditional teams and then them start relegation, of a format, like I'm okay with that.
I mean, that's a good idea. Controversial, yes, but I mean, we can see that part there.
Yes,
but I mean, ultimately, we all have to agree that football have to evolve, right?
Things change. Evolution is the right evolution.
That's true.
And funny, the reason why I'm bringing it back, I kind of want to segue in the final topic, VAR, right? That's a part of evolution of the game. We've seen over the past, not the weekend, but the week before that, and probably from the start of the season, a lot of controversial VAR decisions that have a lot of fans talking, right? Whether it depends on the side where they're on, whether your team benefit or suffer from it. We all see it throughout the course of the season. Right. So what are the thoughts? Just quick roundtable upon VAR and the VAR and decisions.
At this point,
that's come up so far this week.
At this point, VAR just make some controversial call for them keeping at the news every week. Some calls that them make, they even make sense. I say all one make last night with Juventus. Man score a clean header. Then the man get a yellow card, a second yellow, get a red card, then them overturn the goal. And the man get red card, and the man never offside. The man of them say offside never impede the keeper. So it doesn't make no sense.
Chelsea fan. I'm going to say Chelsea fan real quick because he's one of the beneficiaries of a terrible VAR decision time recently.
Everybody have one of them decisions. Everybody have a VAR decision.
Yo, me have to jump off. Me have to jump off, man.
But respect.
Yeah, man, respect. Why your thoughts on just VR in general?
I mean, VR was introduced to help with human errors, right? But the people was supposed to help and get error too. So I don't understand. I mean, everybody benefit from it. I mean, we benefit from with the whole Edouard Mendy thing. To me, to be honest, I don't think it's a foul, but we need them. We take it, but clearly it wasn't a foul. VR now the way it's supposed to do. I think it's bias. Like it's certain teams get certain. I don't know. I don't think VR really do what it's supposed to do. To be honest,
especially in Premier League.
Yeah. So yeah, especially in Premier League. So to me, it means them tell them look at VR. So right now they make a play and there's a penalty. And I see referee attack video on VR. I'm them saying go to the screen.
No overturn.
It'll go overturn. No matter what. It'll go overturn. So from seeing go to the screen, cause one time with Chelsea, I see the man just go to the screen, them show my still picture on the ball to my hand, and the man say, okay, handball. And I say, the man 2 seconds. So from seeing go to the screen, it overturn.
What day, Mr. Martinez slide, the man under to him body.
Yeah.
Lick him foot, then lick him hand, and them say that's happened. How? So what him did for do? Like, if for just cut off him hand?
Like, don't forget the human body reaction. Like, your body, you can't control certain reaction, reflexes. You can't control that. But.
So, yeah. I mean, may I do some research over the week? Because everybody I talk about VAR. I mean, I was the victim of a VAR. I want to say a missed decision, but the inconsistencies of VAR, right? The Arsenal game, we're going to go back to it. Arsenal versus Manchester United, opening goal. Could that change the complexion of the game, right? Not saying VAR didn't get it right, and I think we kind of want to highlight, I feel like overall VAR get more things right than them get wrong, right?
The offside
over the course of a season, I honestly do feel like it evens out, right? In the end, in terms of sometimes they get the decision and sometimes they get it. But the inconsistencies then for me, right? In terms of you'll watch a game 1 week and this call is given, right? And then you watch it the next week, and then it go a different way, right? VAR ultimately, when it come out, was supposed to only be used in an instance of clear and obvious errors, right? But we feel like everything go to a VAR review.
Nobody don't make a decision there. Nobody, the VAR right? Don't want a decision, so they must send a referee to go look. And the referee don't really want to make a decision.
And that's not what them tell you it was for, right? But then what VAR end up and do is, while I feel like ultimately it's good for the game, when we think it a highlight now the inconsistencies, because when something happen in a real time and the ref not see, remember when we are youth we are play ball, when I was here, the ref not see no happen. Right? That's what me always used to hear. But now the ref actually a seat. You the woman look on the same thing what the ref I say, and I say, yo, oh, you not see that. And that make it even more harder to accept, because you saw, for instance, the situation, and I bring up 3 instances where them have a Premier League or a player, as a professional game manager. There's a league of referees will come together, right? And them have a body where them go over after a while, them go over the VAR decision them. And 3 incidents we have in the league so far, which are probably the most egregious. Obviously, one, the Chelsea scenario, where Mendy come out, him the palm with the ball, right? In palm with the ball, so him lose possession of the ball, and that would have been was that a game winner or was that an equalizer? Equalizer, right? I get called. Yeah, that's a team losing a point there, so right. The VAR gonna look on it. We are looking on the same thing, and we're like, yo, what the hell is this guy seeing? Is he not seeing the same thing we are seeing? Right? We have a game with Newcastle where the opposition player push a player in at the goalkeeper, and then them charge the player for a foul. If anything, that's a penalty. In a real time, the ref wouldn't be able to see that, but the fact that you can go back and replay it 10 times, how can you not make that count? I would say with the Coutinho goal was scored against Man City as well, that was never an offside. You could have replayed it a million times and you could have seen that, so it's not. So the fact that Premier League body a referee there say yes, that's literally 3 instances where that was 7 points in total. We go the wrong place, right? Could I agree? So that's a bad decision. Is VAR then? It doesn't need revamping. Does it need scrapping? Do we just leave it alone? Make football guys just decide it? Or we still have to try eliminate these human errors? We want to think of the best. In a full opinion, best call.
They want to try get it up to par with the rest of the world, because the decisions worldwide not as controversial as the Premier League. I mean, yesterday, probably the first real controversial one, I see, from the Italian league with the Juventus header in the 94th minute. Apart from that, like even at Champions League, the calls them typically make sense, but Premier League are just week in, week out. The incompetence of the referees are show.
Them need a rule book. But my final thing on this VR thing, I think if it's scrap, why? It take the joy out of celebration when you score a goal. Like you score a goal and you say, but celebrate. I love when you know you have your team and man celebrate around the corner for the place, but you did in your back you say, all right, them all look on here. You see man listen, and listen and say, Jesus, please.
Man, I celebrate all 2 times.
Yeah, you celebrate. You celebrate again. No, so that the joy out of the whole football to me. Because I mean, it now do its job. Like supposed to be clear and obvious error, and it demand error in itself. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for my final thought, I'm gonna say probably KJ make a pretty good decision. The VAR is just a tool, right? But the tool is still being used by men, and them actually cause the errors in and of itself. So I'm thinking the Premier League itself and the FNE for step in and admit the fact that maybe the referees them just maybe not that good, right? And then they come up with some consistencies, right? And I mean, I think FIFA overall them changed the handball rule, and then at this point they don't even know what is a handball and what is not a handball, right? And as we see same thing in a was it the Europa League game with Manchester United? Them benefit from a call the week before, but then again, as I said, even out itself, because then them suffer from a call. So we just need proper development, and whoever
there's a defense,
the boards, whoever head of the board just need to admit that there's a problem with the refereeing in general and just work on it. That's what me feel. KJ, what your final thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty much it for me. Now, them are the people them with the inside of the room. I watch the video. Them need to get them out together because it has show incompetence week in week out. It really not make no sense. Them decisions not consistent, and as ear say, when once them send them to the screen, you know it I get overturned, and it shouldn't be concrete that once them go to the screen, we know it I go overturned. So that just goes for sure say a lot of flaws in the system.
All right. I mean, I guess we kind of, they're on the CM page on that. But big up everybody we're tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. We're still trying to grow the community. Big up with sponsors, Black Buckle, big up Island Beauty. So we're gonna put the link in the description below for them site. They can go check it out. Show them some of like a show we love just the same. That's we Ball Talk out.